Hello, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the 2020 podcast, Canada's #1 optometry podcast. I am your host, Dr. Harbir Sayan. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to join me, guys. I'm always so grateful. This episode is the third of the series of 3 episodes that I recorded when I was down in Bali a couple of months back with CooperVision to experience their CooperVision and Plastic Bank partnership, this amazing sustainability initiative that CooperVision has. So if you haven't listened to the first 2, you don't have to listen to them in order, but I think it helps if you go back, you listen to the first one with Dr. Evelyn Lowe, who's the president of the BC Doctors of Optometry, sharing her perspective as a leader in the field in optometry, seeing things as this kind of leader across the country. The second episode was with David Katz, who is the CEO and the founder of Plastic Bank, this incredible company that is helping to reduce plastic waste and support communities in these developing countries around the world. And this episode, the third and final episode in this series, is with Aldo Zucaro, who is the lead for all these sustainability initiatives within the Cooper companies, the senior director of this sustainability within the Cooper companies globally. And so Aldo, of course, as you can expect, is very passionate about sustainability, about carbon footprint, about reducing the impact that we have on the environment. And there's going to be a lot of these discussions happening a lot more, not just with our contact lens companies, but all 4 of the major contact lens companies do have some sort of initiative to help reduce waste. But even ophthalmic lens companies and other partners within the industry, you're going to start to hear more and more conversations about sustainability and reducing carbon footprint. So it's really cool to see the initiative and the amount of effort, really money, time, and overall effort that CooperVision is putting into these global initiatives to help reduce their footprint as well. So there's nobody better to speak to it than Aldo Zucaro. This is a great conversation. I had a lot of fun talking to him. Really, really smart man. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. If you haven't heard the other 2, please go back and check those out. Enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Hello, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the 2020 podcast, Canada's #1 optometry podcast. I am your host, Dr. Harbir Sayan. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to join me here to learn and to grow. Thank you for all the support. And as always, one quick favor right off the top, if you could please share this, especially if you get some value from it. Share this with a friend, with your mom. I don't know, just get the message out there. Let people know what we're talking about. Some very, very important conversations that we're having here. And if you're watching on YouTube, you will see that, of course, this is not our normal backdrop for the podcast. We are in beautiful Bali, Indonesia. And we have this incredible sunset. Like, the timing of this recording is incredible, Aldo. We have this beautiful sunset.
I planned it for you.
You did. That was amazing. Thank you. In Bali here. And I want to say a big thank you to CooperVision for having me here. The reason we're here is to experience this partnership that CooperVision is developing with Plastic Bank. We're here to see what it's like to actually to support the communities to remove plastic from, waste from the water and from the areas around here and process it and turn it into something else. And to help me with that discussion, I have the wonderful Aldo Zucaro, who is the lead for corporate responsibility in the Cooper companies. And he has a PhD in behavioral economics.
I do.
Which is something I'm very interested in. So I'd love to talk to you about that. But thank you so much, Aldo, for being here.
Oh, absolutely. No problem. Absolutely. Thank you for
taking the time. I know it's a busy few. We're not here for that long. And there's a lot going on. So the fact that you took some time to sit and chat, I really appreciate it. Can you tell me your title, the lead for corporate responsibility for Cooper companies? Can you break that down into what that means?
Yeah. So Cooper Companies has 2 divisions. We have a surgical division, Cooper Surgical, and CooperVision. I sit over both divisions. Primarily, my focus is on developing opportunities and programs that both divisions can participate in. CooperVision, this particular program was developed specifically for CooperVision as it thinks about helping in terms of the waste that's generated in the world. And so Plastic Bank and this particular program was specifically a CooperVision thing, but I sit over both. I look after both divisions.
So that, I think, makes you the perfect person to have this conversation with, right? So you are the one who is creating these programs to promote sustainability within the company, to reduce the carbon footprint that Cooper companies have in the world. And of course, CooperVision, given their contact lens manufacturer, and there's a lot of conversation in general about the potential waste that contact lenses produce. Makes sense that this program would be something that you would come up. Well, now it makes sense.
Yeah.
Maybe a little while ago it was not something somebody would have thought of. But can you describe this program, this partnership that CooperVision has with Plastic Bank and the impact it has.
Yeah. Well, let me start by sort of talking about how it came about.
Yeah.
And so I started talking to the scientists, and I said, we create our contact lenses out of plastic. They're packaged in plastic. Can we do something else? And one of the biggest education elements for me was just how brilliant plastic is. It does its job. I mean, we're imprinting amazingly fine optics on a very small piece of silicon hydrogel. I mean, you're an optometrist.
Yeah.
You know what that does. You know the complexity and the interaction with the eye.
Right. Yeah. It is pretty amazing. We take that a lot of that for granted.
It's an amazing thing. And I had a realization. I asked our R&D, I said, just help me understand, how much do we spend on developing a contact lens? And he said, well, let me just give you the big picture. We've spent billions of dollars developing that. And I thought to myself, wait a second. We've spent billions of dollars developing this. And at the end of approximately 12 hours, I tell somebody to do that.
Yeah.
Like, it has no waste. You tell me you spent billions of dollars trying to figure out the precise mix of ingredients, technicality, optic, to interact with the mechanisms of the eye, which are complicated as crazy.
Yeah.
And at the end of 12 hours, if somebody goes that long, toss it.
Just flick it in the garbage.
I said, I can't take that. It's an unacceptable answer.
Yeah.
It's completely unacceptable. We got to do better.
I love that.
And he's like, well, it's going to take us a while. And I said, well, I'm not going to sit on my hands while you and the technical people think of a way to make it better. I can't do nothing. I'm happy to do something in order to do that, because waiting isn't an option. And in my mind, waiting has never been an option. We have to do something now.
Right.
And so I started out looking for a partner that I could trust.
Right.
And for me, and the industry, if you look at all the legal things around sustainability, people have been lying about sustainability too long. They're too, it's amazing how many people say, well, I'm green and I'm green. Are you really green? And so I took that on and I said, you know what? We're not going to lie. We're going to be uber transparent with everything. I am telling you, we are not sitting on our hands while we find ways to control what we can't yet control. And we can't yet control it.
Right.
I'm going to find a way to control it. If you spent $1 billion developing it, you find another $1 billion and you figure out how to control it.
Yeah.
But in lieu of that, we needed a way to do that.
Yeah. And this is through your research, then you discovered Plastic Bank.
Plastic Bank. And there was a but in that. For me.
Okay.
Because for me, it's people plus planet. We have to save the planet. But if we're saving the planet for the sake of the planet, it's not really that interesting.
Right. Sure.
People had to be part of the equation. We've heard of other recycling companies out there. This is not that.
Right.
We are helping. And in fact, the reason I invited, 29 of my closest friends to, God knows, all the way around the world to Bali, because I want you to see. I want you to see what they're doing. I want you to see that we will probably never sell a contact lens to these people. So if somebody thought I was doing this because it's a way to generate income, well, you're wrong.
Right.
These people aren't going to buy a contact lens. But that doesn't mean that CooperVision shouldn't help. I tell a story. It's one particular story. David told me this story. I experienced this, and it blew my mind. And I said, imagine, you're a parent of a child. I don't know, a 1-year-old, a 2-year-old. They want a very simple toy, 10 cents. But imagine being at a place in your life where you don't have 10 cents to help that child. They're innocent.
Yeah.
All they're looking is for that little bit. You know, your life is this, but does their life have to be? And I thought to myself, I'm not going to allow that. Cooper is not going to. Yes, I absolutely want to rid the world of waste plastic, but I want to do it in a way that somebody gets bettered. And over the next couple of days, you know what? We're going to look at families. We're going to see families that have had the opportunity to change their trajectory, to elevate themselves out of that because of a contact lens that we are working so hard so you don't throw it away, so that we can do that for someone that will probably never know we exist, that will never know that we helped them, because that's not what drives me. What drives me is knowing that I changed somebody's life.
That's incredible.
That's what we're about. And
Right.
over the next couple of days, we're going to see that. I want you to see that. I want the world to know that partnering with a company like CooperVision isn't to just line our pockets. It's because we absolutely care. Yes, we make fantastic contact lenses. Fantastic contact lenses. We've learned how to imprint the most impossible technology on a tiny, and make it repeatable. Yes, all of those things are true. And one more thing. There's somebody not too far from us who will never know us, who might just be the next Einstein, who might solve cancer, who might figure something out. And all because we did this. And that makes me happy.
I love that.
It makes me so incredibly happy that I want to tell the world about it. I want everybody to see. I want everybody to know. And I don't even care. I want desperately for someone. It's not the accolades. It's not all the good attaboys. It doesn't matter. None of that is important to me. What's important is you're telling people. I tell somebody, and I'll tell you this, and I'll say, I know I've done a good job, is if at the dinner table, you tell your family something you saw.
Listen, I love that entire message. And that's absolutely what I'm so excited about, is to be able to share this message with so many more people. I'm very, very excited to share this message with so many people, but in particular with my family around the dinner table, because my daughter, she's in first grade and she's learning so much about the environment and waste and sustainability. And she comes home and tells me, Dad, did you know that we need to recycle this and not throw this away? And my wife is very conscious of it as well. And coincidentally, although this is amazing, just a couple of days ago, my wife was watching a video on her phone, and my wife and daughter together. And I asked her, what are you watching? And she's like, our daughter came home from school, was talking about how they have to collect waste out of these places and so on. And I was like, oh, we are going to be going into the mangroves. And my daughter looked at me. She's like, you're going to mangroves? That's what we're watching, is videos of people clearing out mangroves in Indonesia, of all places.
Really?
And so the fact that I'm going to be able to go back home to her and say, listen, look, this is what I was doing. It's kind of I think it's going to be a pretty proud moment for me as a dad to go back to my 7-year-old. So not only just around the dinner table, I'm going to be very excited to talk to her about it and share the stories from here. And to go back to what you're saying, and kind of has been consistent over these 2 or 3 interviews that we've done today, is the impact on the community, on the people. It's one thing, of course, to clean out the waste and have the environmental impact, but to actually help people to live better lives and hopefully potentially give them the means to come out of poverty, to be able to do small things like that we don't even resonate with where we live, that somebody might not having a bank account, might not have any savings, might not be able to buy a small toy or some other just basic needs that they need. They don't have the means to gain those things. Now with a program like this, they might.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty profound impact.
The way I think about it is, I don't know why I was born where I was born. The luck of the draw.
Right.
I know maybe I picked the long straw, the short straw, but we live different lives than they do.
Very.
Our refrigerators are full. We have
refrigerators.
Right. We have refrigerators. They're full.
Yeah.
We have the ability to give our children almost anything they want. I want them to know, just like your daughter is learning, we are fortunate. And those that are fortunate should help those that are a little bit less fortunate.
Yeah.
And that is the most important thing. And why we're here is so that we can see. It's not for naught.
No, definitely for something. And
it's for something.
I'm very excited for the next couple of days to go through this process, to go to the mangroves tomorrow, to clean.
Yeah, we're going to clean the mangroves.
To be in the trenches, so to speak. But then also to see the process of what happens with that plastic.
Right.
And then the really thing that I actually kind of missed until yesterday or today, when we're speaking with everybody here, that we're actually going to spend time with some people who are involved in this process.
Absolutely.
Can you tell me, like, what is, and you already said a little bit about that, but what does that look like for me? What do I have to, what can I expect there? And what's the purpose of that?
There's nothing to expect. I mean, they're people like you and I. One of the things that I want to make absolutely clear to everybody is that they are equal. and we're going to break bread with them.
Mm.
And we'll talk with them, and I want us to say, look, you're a friend. You are helping me do something I can't do just yet. And I am helping you do something that you can't do just yet. And together we both win.
Yeah.
We get rid of a little bit of waste plastic. You have an ability to elevate yourself out of where you are. You get dignity. And it's not philanthropy. It's not a gift.
Right.
This is a hand up, not a hand out. And it's so important. And not because I don't think philanthropy is necessary or needed. It is. It's wonderful. But here, we're not doing that. Some people are working. They get dignity in what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
They get the ability to see their environment improve.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, their community gets healthier and stronger. And I want us walking away saying, I now have a friend in Indonesia, in Bali, that I didn't think I was going to have.
Right.
And who knows? Maybe I'll pass across again.
Maybe. Aldo, thank you so much. That was
absolutely.
really inspiring and powerful. And I hope whoever's watching and listening will get some inspiration from that.
So too.
Is there a final message that you'd want to share with whoever's on the other side of this camera here? What do we want? Maybe an call to action or something that might inspire somebody to take some other change in behavior or whatever it might be.
Yeah, I think that the biggest message I tell everybody is doing nothing is unacceptable. Doing nothing is unacceptable. You have to do something. If you can't participate in this program, do something else. But please, don't do nothing.
Don't do nothing. Thank you so much, Aldo. I appreciate it. That was amazing.
No worries.
And I appreciate being here again. Thank you to you.
Yeah.
Thank you to CooperVision for having me here, for having this initiative to make an impact on so many people's lives and the environment.
I'm just happy you're sharing it with the world.
I'm so excited to share this. I really am. So thank you very much. And thank you to everybody who's watching and listening to the 2020 podcast, Canada's #1 optometry podcast. See you guys in the next episode.